30 seconds and counting.
Hey, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to another video. It's Anish. I'm joined with Drew, and we have some news for y'all. The Texans finally interview Rams offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connell. Apparently, they interviewed him sometime this past week, and he was also a finalist for the Broncos head coaching job. And before I begin, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below for more Texans updates. And as always, we've launched our website, Clutch City ENTX, where we'll be posting articles. So that's something for y'all. And we've started something new. We started daily Twitter Texan Spaces from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. I know it's kind of weird times, but we're just want to like talk to y'all, get to talk Texans, and just really like connect with y'all on a regular basis. So be sure to check our Twitter at Clutch City ENTX for that. So let me get back to the story. So yes, the Texans finally interviewed Kevin O'Connell, and as y'all know, he has a lot of buzz around him, and we requested an interview on January 19th, and apparently we interviewed him sometime this past week. So it's crazy how it's been a lot of like days of radio silence from the Texans, and then after days later we hear that the Texans actually interviewed him sometime earlier. So it's very clear that nothing is getting leaked from Nick Caserio at all. So Drew, what are your whole thoughts on this situation, and what do you make of it?
I mean, first of all, this situation is just absolutely crazy. I cannot believe that Nick Caserio was able to keep this in the dark, off the books for days upon days upon days. We don't even know exactly what day the interview happened. I can only assume that it was either on a Friday or Saturday because, like you said, the Texans had requested an interview, I believe, last Thursday. And then we heard rumors that, oh, he wants to focus on the playoffs, so the interview's going to have to wait, yada, yada, yada. But the interview actually had happened while people were saying all of these things. So it's just crazy. Credit to Nick Caserio there. But yeah, more about Kevin O'Connell. He's only 36 years old. He has a wide range of experience, and he comes from that McVay Shanahan tree that's so desirable. Fun fact about Kevin O'Connell is that he actually started his NFL career when he was drafted by the New England Patriots in 2008. And at that time, Texans general manager Nick Caserio was entering his first year as the Patriots director of player personnel, which really was the de facto general manager, while of course Bill Belichick had most of the shots called by him. But it just shows you that even Nick Caserio has a little bit of connection to Kevin O'Connell. He knows what kind of guy he is because he was the one who drafted him. You have to interview, you have to talk to each prospect that you're going to possibly draft. So Nick Caserio has definitely met Kevin O'Connell before. He's met Kevin O'Connell, the player. I'm sure he's met Kevin O'Connell, the coach, in the past. And another interesting thing is that in 2008, the quarterback coach in New England was Josh McDaniels, who was also Nick Caserio's roommate in college teammate. And that's just really important because I believe that connection is really what's going to bring them together. And then the coaching history for O'Connell is pretty good too. He became the Redskins offensive coordinator in 2019. This roster was really, really depleted. They had Dwayne Haskins and Case Keenum as the quarterbacks there. They were 21st in total offense, considering the people that they had on that roster isn't very bad. Then, of course, after that, there was a coaching change in Washington, so he went to LA, where they ranked 17th in offense in 2020. That was a little bit of a down year for the Rams, just in general. And then this year, they're 8th in total offense. From what we've heard, there's been a little bit more input from O'Connell since this is his second year with the Rams. So it really shows you that he's learning. He's really young. The system is really desirable. In terms of the Texans, two guys that could really benefit from this would be Brandon Cooks and Davis Mills. We don't know if they'll use them exactly similar like Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford, but Cooper Kupp's basically, he gets a free release every single time. He's not going to be in press coverage. And if you've seen Brandon Cooks without being pressed or Brandon Cooks in space, he's very, very electric, very fast guy. And Davis Mills, going back to his days at Stanford, that was West Coast scheme, pro style kind of offense. And I think that would really suit him well. Davis Mills could really benefit from having a strong West Coast running game. He kind of either a check down, play action offense. He's really good in the short to intermediate game. And they had some pretty good deep passes. So this system could really benefit Davis Mills. Kevin O'Connell is definitely up there for me in terms of head coaches that I want. He's probably 2A, 2B after, Gannon and Flores. So I would really like Kevin O'Connell as the next head coach of the Houston Texans.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think that he's their guy because he's the only guy who the Texans can't like realistically hire right now since he's already on a team that's still competing for a Super Bowl. I'm thinking like if it was like Gannon or Lombardi or whatever the other names are, McCown, like they would have already hired them because they're already available. And so the fact that the Texans haven't made any like hires obviously kind of for me kind of points that Kevin O'Connell is their guy and they're just waiting on him for either them to win the Super Bowl or be eliminated, whichever one comes before the other, obviously. But yeah, so I'm starting to think that he's their guy, and I would absolutely love it. Like you mentioned, the West Coast offense with Davis Mills, like having the pass open up the run, whereas in past years we've had trying to force it the other way where we're trying to do the run to set up the pass, and we're obviously we have better personnel for like the pass game. And so like it's going to be awesome to see Davis Mills thrive in this kind of offense. And just like note in these playoffs, like 3 out of the 4 teams run like a West Coast kind of offense. And 3 out of 4 of them are like yeah, so like I said, so it really shows um how successful this kind of scheme is. And so the only cons I see with O'Connell is the main one, him not calling plays on the Rams offense, but we've seen it but like that isn't a big issue because he does play a huge role in like the whole planning of it. And apparently Albright reported earlier that he calls like the scripted plays, so like the first 15 plays or like so basically all the plays in the first quarter or something like that. So that's something to keep an eye out on. So that's what O'Connell's role on the Rams offense is. So even though he's not specifically calling plays later down in the game, he's still a valuable part of that team, obviously. And he's just very highly respected. Like we mentioned earlier in our first O'Connell video, that McVay blocked O'Connell from interviewing for the Chargers offensive coordinator position when Brandon Staley was hired for them for the Chargers. So really shows that the fact that they're willing to block Kevin O'Connell because like, oh, we really need this guy in our building to be a successful organization. So that really speaks to Kevin O'Connell's like status, his how much he's respected around the league. Also in Washington, his promotion in 2019, they promoted him because they didn't want to lose him. So that just really shows a lot. And like I said, the Sean McVay coaching tree with Bengals head coach Zach Taylor, Chargers head coach Brandon Staley, Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, who all like worked with Sean McVay. So it seems like it's been very successful in past years.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, you were trying to say earlier is that 3 of the 4 coaches in the playoffs are really, really young. They've been learning this kind of West Coast system going back to, I guess, Gary Kubiak would be the biggest link to that system. And they kind of just traveled through the ranks. I know LaFleur, I mean, McVay, and Shanahan were all on the Washington Redskins at one point in 2013, which is just crazy. It's really cool to see all these guys kind of going through the tree and possibly becoming head coaches. Even some guys on the defensive side of the ball, some of those coaches are starting to become head coaches too. But another interesting thing I thought you guys might like, it was earlier reported today from Patrick Storm, his Twitter handles at Patrick Storm TU, that the Texans airplane has been traveling around. Keep in mind, this airplane is only used by the Texans, meaning that Cal McNair and Nick Caserio were really the only guys that used this, and that Nick Caserio has not been in the Texans building for at least 5 days. And according to uh, flight tracking logs, the Texans were in Los Angeles on the 19th. They then left to go to, looks like they went to Phoenix. Could be something like the Cardinals, you never know there. But then they then went back to Los Angeles on the 21st, which is just a day after the Texans had requested to interview Kevin O'Connell. And it seems like that plane left on the 22nd to go to Philadelphia, possibly meaning that they left as soon as that Kevin O'Connell interview was made. Meaning also they could have gone to Philadelphia to talk to Jonathan Gannon. And apparently, right now, that plane has been to New York and Miami as well, which is where Brian Flores is a Brooklyn native, and he also may have family down in Miami. So just trying to connect the dots here. The Texans, forget what everybody else has been saying. They have been working. Nick Casario has been traveling around the United States for all we know, and we just found out about this interview like an hour ago. Just absolutely crazy once again. So disregard people have been saying the Texans have been hard at work, and Kevin O'Connell is just the first thing to come out about this. Credit to Adam Schefter, credit to Patrick Storm for finding these things out. And I would expect even more Texans news in the coming days.
Absolutely. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Let us know your thoughts on Kevin O'Connell possibly becoming the Texans head coach. Obviously, nothing's set in stone completely, but that's what the tea leaves are showing us. But that's pretty much it for the video. Let us know your thoughts on Kevin O'Connell. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Thank y'all for watching. Peace.